Today, I face my fears, my demons, and take a visit to none other than Psychic Island. Yippee! Psychic Island is a monumental island in MSM, as it was the island that introduced the magicals to MSM and started the modern era of the game that we are still in today. That being said, as many people know, this is my least favorite island in the game, and I'm just going to cut to the chase, no need to wait. Is this island good? No, it's not. Okay, now that that's out of the way, it's time to explain why that is. This time, I'm going to structure things like the Sanctum video, meaning we're starting off with the good and making our way to the ugly. Let's begin. Now hold on to your hats, cause here we go, and with the good, there is not a lot here. In terms of the Fire Frontier cast, it's Kana, Flower, and Rudy2 that are the only good ones. Kana and Rudy2 have a decent duet, and props to Rudy2 for being the only real melody in the verse for the longest time until Bowhead was added. Flower adds some nice variations into the verse that it plays in, and has a good performance, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it's a really bad sign if Flower of all monsters is one of the better ones. In terms of percussion, the only good ones are Bookworm and Pophead. Pophead keeps the energy going in the Kanaverse, and Bookworm has a nice rhythm and filling track. Bowhead hard saves the intro and provides a really good duet with Rudy2 and Kana, making that trio really strong on their own. Keywords on their own. I'm honestly shocked something this good made its way on such a bad island. And the best monster on the island is Gloptic. It's the entire feeling of the song and keeps pace and energy in both verses that it plays in. It's one of the few things that can work together well with both the fire and psychic verses of the song. Now what the heck do I mean by that? Well, it'll get its own explanation, don't you worry. Overall, Gloptic is really good and its contributions are stellar. Okay, now let's bring us back down to Earth and get to the bad monsters, of which takes up the vast majority of this island. Octopus is awful on this island. Its performance is weak, and the sour note it plays in the end clashes so awfully with everything in the full song that it takes me out every time it sings it. And even beyond that, it barely contributes to the verse and it's just more clutter. Fangler is in the exact same boat. Awful sour note, weak performance, and being shoved into the background that makes it nothing more than a filler monster that clutters up the song. Toejammer is so wasted on this island. Toejammer would have been a perfect deep vocal to put alongside Kana and Rudy2, but instead we get this weak, unenthusiastic, draining track that after all the updates ended up being completely outclassed by Bowhead. It has no reason to exist in the full song. The Dipsters just suck. Their melody is just too detached from anything else and don't do it well with anything playing in their verse. Periscope would be decent, except its third track in the Kanaverse is too fast-paced, ill-fitting, and completely destroys the lonely and eerie tone of that verse. Theramine is really bad. This monster just does not hold notes well. It's not catchy, it's just annoying and not pleasing to listen to at all. And not only that, but the hell note is sour too, so that's fun. Bisonorous doesn't fare much better. I don't hate this track, but the fact that it's meant to be an extension of Theramine makes it so it doesn't have much of a chance of any praise from me. Oh god, Mimi. An utter waste of the tambourine. Imagine taking all the worst traits from Periscope, too fast-paced and ill-fitting for the Kanaverse, and making that a soul monster. That's Edamimi on this island. In the full song, it just muddies up the song more and has no reason to exist, as it's just a worse version of Periscope. And lastly, Ruba. Remember when I said that Kana, Rudy2, and Bowhead were a good trio? On their own? Well, that's because Ruba, and partly Octopus and Fangler too, completely destroy that trio. It plays on top of everything. It's trying to do it with Kana and Rudy2, yet it's too fast-paced and too over the top to do it well with them. That and the last note is overpowering and sour. Its composition is not helping it, and it's so boring and ineffective that I'd honestly go to say this is one of the worst instrumental tracks in the game. Even the castle bass completely sucks. It's too overpowering and the sound font gives me headaches. And that and the track that's just Toejammer has all the same issues as Toejammer and just a very boring track in general. If you thought I was done, you are sorely mistaken. Now we get into the ugly of this island, and it's ugly. First off, the Potbelly verses. They're boring. They're a slog. They're not interesting, and if it weren't for Gloptic, they'd be even worse. The chords are sailed, the few melodies are unenthusiastic for a verse that wants to be energetic, that and Theramine isn't helping, it just doesn't work at all. And now we get into the Ruba verse. One of the worst verses in the game. Now to bring the Fire Frontier versus Psychic Island thing. When Fire Frontier first came out, this verse had a very quiet, eerie, and sullen tone. Then come the psychic monsters, and now we have monsters that go for a very energetic and rhythmic tone. This contradiction in tone can cause a lot of issues. Cluttering, unexpected sour notes, tonal whiplash, and crappy transitions. All of these are present in the song. As time went on, this problem only got worse, as more monsters got added and none of them could really address the problem. A solution isn't to add more sounds, it's to take away, and we know BBB doesn't do that. So now the island is left in a limbo. Is it eerie and solemn or energetic and upbeat? Now this difference in tone can work as long as there's a solid structure, proper transitions, and the pacing of the tracks needs to be the same all around. Cloud Island does this really well. Psychic Island does not. Its structure is lackluster, the transitions are non-existent, and the pacings are all over the place. I am now realizing that Sanctum and Psychic are more in common than I thought. All of this leaves Psychic Island as a very confused island, and leaves it without much of an identity. Yeah, this island sucks. It's a hot mess with not very many redeeming qualities. The good news is that I never have to think about this island ever again now. So that's a W for me. Well, that's that. Do you agree or disagree? Was my psyche on point or did I get brain damage from this? Let me know in the comments below. And to end things on a bit of a positive after so much negativity, the next island we're looking at is in Dawn of Fire, so that is exciting. Well, that's it for me, and I'll see you all in the next one.